recording. Button. Double tap to activate.
Hello. We are in the kitchen again. Last night, we played with some freeze-dried cheese. That was kind of fun, right? So I thought today I would share with you something that I like to make with freeze-dried cheese. We're going to make a pizza. Now, do I know how to make pizza crust from scratch? Yes, I do. But I don't really want to mess around with waiting an hour to make the dough and let it rise and then let it rise again for another hour and then bake it. That's a big ordeal when you want a pizza. So sometimes I cheat and I buy these little kits off of Amazon. They're the Chef Boyarde pizza maker. They're great for busy families. You get 2 little pouches of dough in each box, and you get 6 boxes when you buy them. So are they as good as fresh homemade dough? No, they're not, but they work in a pinch. They still taste okay. So that's what we're gonna play with today, so you can see the cheese and how it works out. And also, it's just a faster, easier way to make a pizza on the internet. Who knows though, maybe we will play with some fresh bread sometime. I'm gonna open up this package. It's kind of crinkly, forgive me. Here we go, we got some noise. Okay, the nice thing about this is this already has the flour, the salt, the yeast, everything in this little pack. So we got our bowl here. It's a big metal bowl, big stainless steel bowl. We're just going to dump the pre-mixed mixture of the flour, the yeast, the salt, whatever else into the bowl. Now we're only gonna make 1 pouch because it's just me. If I had other people to feed, I'd make 2. I'll be honest with you, one of these pizzas with 1 pouch feeds me for 2 days. I eat a half a pizza one day, half one the next day. So if you had a family, you could of course share it with them. For 1 pouch, you need 2/3 cup of warm water. There is some quick yeast in this, so you do need to get it to the right temperature. I have a 2/3 cup measuring cup. I'm gonna head and go over to the sink. It's a plastic measuring cup for 2/3. If I could see the lines on my glass measuring cup, right, then I would just fill it up. I have a glass measuring cup that we're gonna put in the microwave because we need to heat up our water to about 110, 120 degrees or so for our yeast. So we want that to go in the microwave. So we don't want to put our plastic measuring cup in the microwave because it could melt. Now our glass measure does have lines on it. They are a little bit tactile on mine, but they're really difficult for me to see anymore. If you can see, that's a traditional glass. It can go in the microwave. It's very durable. So because I struggle to see the print on a traditional glass measuring cup anymore, I use a plastic one, a plastic measuring cup where I know if it's full to the top, that's what I got, and then I just pour it into the glass. If you can still see the writing on your glass measure, by all means, just fill that up with water. But that's something. If you're blind or visually impaired, and you're struggling, or if you're experiencing, we're gonna put that in the microwave for about 25 seconds. If you're experiencing vision changes due to aging, and you're struggling to see the print on your glass measuring cup anymore, that's definitely something you can do. One of those tips and tricks that I use. Okay, we're gonna check on this water. If you haven't seen it before,
70 point.
I have a talking kitchen thermometer. I even did a YouTube short on this. We're gonna stick it in the water and see what the temperature is of our water today.
112.6 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, that will work to activate our yeast. the little bit of yeast that's in there. So we're going to pour that into the bowl with the dough. I'm using a fork now. We're just gonna stir that around. Oh, I gotta turn my oven on to 425 degrees. I have a pretty old stove. It still actually has the old metal burners on it. Yeah, I know a lot of people like a flat stove, and they are easier to clean, and I've certainly used them before. I've owned one before. My parents owned one. I know how to use them, but I have to admit, I like having the burners that I can still feel, and you know where your heat is. Obviously, you can feel heat, though. On a flat stove, of course, you're going to feel the heat once it's
Last
on.
living photo of the nut. Final moments before end live ahead.
But I have an old stove. It's got burners. It's got a dial on it to adjust, which is certainly easier for me. A lot of your flat top glass stoves now, they also have flat panel buttons, which, as I showed you with my microwave, it wouldn't be hard for me to just put some rail on there. That's true. I could do that, but this one still has a dial that I like. And we just drilled holes in it. So I got a hole in my dial at 200, a hole at 300, a hole at 400. That's it. It was that simple. Obviously, if you can see, you can't really read the number with the hole in it. But that's not really relevant since it's me doing the cooking here. So, okay, we're going to put in not quite a tablespoon of olive oil. So I got my finger over the top of the spoon. I don't like to use a whole tablespoon. Maybe, I don't know, 3/4, something like that. I don't feel like a half is enough. And then we're just gonna lightly, you don't wanna mix that in. Your dough should pretty much be in a dough lump already before you even put the olive oil in. When you just mix the water in, that's all you have to do with these mixes. If you don't wanna have to mess around with measurement, a bunch of stuff, you just add water to these, super simple, till the dough forms a ball, and then you can work it with your hands and it'll form a nice ball of dough. You just want it coated with the olive oil. That's it, okay? So we're gonna toss that in our bowl. We're gonna wash the oil off of our hands, right? Alexa, set a timer for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, starting now.
Okay, and I'm gonna get some saran wrap to cover that dough so it doesn't dry out. Now we can talk about this dough. They say that you can use it within 5 minutes. Supposedly it's like a quick acting yeast that you can use in 5 minutes. I don't think it gets as fluffy as I like it or as it potentially can. So I give it up to 20 minutes. I really feel like with these pre-packaged mixes, you're kind of gonna max out the fluffiness of your dough at 20 minutes. I've never tried it at 30 or an hour, so honestly, I don't know if it could get fluffier like a true homemade pizza that I've made before. I've made homemade pizza crusts before that are like really fluffy. So good. If you like a big doughy dough for your pizza, it's good. That's not necessarily what you're getting, but you are getting a much quicker dough than you would. So I'm gonna give that 20 minutes to raise, and then we'll come back and we'll make a pizza together so you can see the cheese. Okay, see you soon. I'll be right back.
Capture button. Pause button. Pause.
Hello, we're back. Okay, it's been like 18 minutes, but we canceled our timer. We're ready to roll. Something I did. I know we could have been stitching in between. It's true. I could have sat down with you for 20 minutes and stitched, but I thought some people might want to see this video about their cheese and not watch knitting and crochet. I don't know who. I mean, who wouldn't want to watch knitting and crochet and conversate? But I know that there are some people. Plus, by the time we make the pizza, we put it together, we show it to you, that'll be long enough. Also, it's daytime, if you can't tell, if you are sighted or working in the daytime. It is overcast here. It's still very chilly if you're blind or visually impaired. I'm wearing the blue hoodie that I knit and designed myself. I'm even wearing my purple crochet beanie that I crocheted and designed myself. It's purple and black because it's really cold. It's not even 50 degrees here today. 18-mile-an-hour winds. It's cold. So it's overcast. But it's still daylight, and that's really hard for me to open my eyes. And I know people like to see my eyes open. So you'll have to let me know. Would you want to hang out and stitch even in the daytime when I can't open my eyes? Or would you rather wait for those kind of videos till dusk? I don't know. We'll have to play around with it. But I don't particularly like to make videos when I can't open my eyes very well, because I know that bothers some people. So, here we go. We got our pizza dough, which by now, after our little conversation, probably been about 20 minutes. We're gonna take it out of the bowl so you can see it. This is what it looks like. Does it rise a little bit? A little bit, not a lot. Now, the Chef Boyardee pizza kits do come with a can of sauce. It's enough sauce for the 2 crusts. Just a word of warning, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, it does have these little highly processed pepperonis in it. Now, I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian, but I am just saying that. It's highly preserved, highly processed. Do I eat it? Yeah, if I use the sauce, I do eat it because I'm gonna put some meat on my pizza, but that's not the only meat that I want. But today we are not using the little Chef Boyardee can of sauce because, as I said, there's 2 pouches of dough in the box, and I cooked the first pouch I don't know how long ago, more than 2 months ago, and then left the spaghetti, the pizza sauce in my fridge for over 2 months. I couldn't tell if it was still good. Was it moldy? Was it not? I didn't know for sure. I smelled it. It smelled fine, but I don't like to take any risks, and I couldn't see. It didn't smell moldy, but I still didn't want to taste it and try. So I just went ahead and opened up a new can of pizza sauce. So making a pizza crust, flattening the dough out, that's obviously something you can do by feel. You don't have to see it all to shape a pizza crust, right? Don't be intimidated to work with dough. If you're visually impaired or if you're becoming visually impaired, definitely do not let dough intimidate you. I made homemade cinnamon rolls from scratch for my mother's Bible study at her house for years, twice a month. Her Bible study attendees requested that. When I moved out, they legit complained because she was working full time and gave them frozen bread dough, cinnamon rolls, okay? So I love to work with dough and bread. So you can use your left hand, because I'm right-handed, to feel where your dough is at, and then I go ahead and transfer the can to my left hand when I know it's over the top of the pizza dough. Now you can pour and spoon. Once you know that your can is over the top of the dough, you can spoon the sauce, you can pour it right over your crust. I kind of like to pour it in the middle where I know the can is still over the crust. I don't like to be moving my can over a lot. Oops, I see right there, I just missed the pizza crust. So I don't like to move my can around a lot. I would much rather spread it. I'd much rather put the sauce in a blob on the dough where I know the can is over the dough and then spread it. Now I have my left hand on the edge of the dough and I'm using the spoon in my right hand. And that way I'll know if indeed I touch the spoon and I get pizza sauce on my left hand, then I know I'm at the edge of my pizza. Yeah. So you can just kind of swirl that around. And you'll feel it with your spoon too. If you get off your pizza crust, you'll feel it with your spoon. If you're using the back of your spoon, you'll notice that. But I do a lot of times like to keep sort of a hand on there. And if you lay out the dough yourself, you're gonna know where it's at on the pan. You're gonna know how big it is. You're gonna know what kind of a space you're dealing with. Do sauce mishaps happen? Of course they do. But for the most part, you're gonna be able to spread that pizza sauce on there. Let's see, I might put a little bit more. That's one thing. I do have a little bit of a hard time telling sometimes how much sauce I got on there. Is it enough? Is it not? You will feel when it's thick though. When your spoon's in it, you can definitely feel when sauce is thick, but it can be a little bit hard to feel how evenly distributed it is on the dough. But you can definitely do a pizza by feel. And here it is, the freeze-dried cheese from yesterday, last night. There's a video about freeze-dried cheese on my channel. This is what it looks like several hours later. It's clumpy, so it tastes good. So we're gonna crumble this over our crust. I should have probably rolled up my sleeves on my hoodie before I did this because I don't want to get tomato sauce on my hoodie. And when you're blind or visually impaired, you gotta cook with your fingers a lot. You gotta do a lot of things by feel. And that's okay as long as you wash your hands, right? As long as you have really good hygiene, as long as you use soap and hot water and you wash your hands regularly, especially if you're cooking for other people, then it's totally fine to use your hands in the cooking process. So this isn't grated cheese. If you're used to buying grated cheese at the store to make a pizza, this is different for sure. You gotta crumble it up yourself, but it does crumble up pretty fine, in my opinion. I'm gonna go ahead and crumble it up quite a bit so we don't have really, really big cheese lumps. If you're not sure how much cheese you got on there, just use your hands. Okay, let's see. I definitely want to crumble this a little bit more in some places. Oh, I still have a whole spot right there that needs some more cheese, because I like cheese. Once again, trying to not get my sleeves into it. Trying to make sure I get the cheese on the pizza, right on the pizza, not on the pan. We'll take a quick, yep, we got some cheese on the pan. Oh my goodness. Okay. Crumble this up some more so it's not super lumpy on there. I mean, if you like really thick cheese lumps, that's totally fine too. But I like to crumble this stuff pretty fine. Not that I don't like thick cheese. I do like cheese, obviously. But I think we'll go ahead and put a little bit more on there and then we'll give it another feel. and see what we got. Let's see where we need, oh, right there, we still need some cheese. Okay, so if you need to just feel it with your fingers a lot, if it's for you, if your hands are really, really clean, then of course you can. If you wash them with soap and hot water, go ahead and touch your pizza and make sure that your cheese is evenly, I put a little bit more there. Make sure that your cheese is evenly distributed. Okay, now as I mentioned, if you're new and this is your first video, I am visually impaired. I'm not totally blind, but I've never had enough eyesight to legally drive, and I live miles from even a bus stop. So I don't very often have all the time things like fresh onions and fresh peppers and things to put on my pizza. So we gotta make do with what we have. And what do we have to put on our pizza? We got some ham. Several months ago, I did have a spiral ham. It was big, it was beautiful, it was delicious, okay? It was good, I cooked it myself. But it was like a 10-pound ham just for me. That's a lot of ham, and I love ham. So of course, I put some ham in the freezer for things like pizzas and soups. All kinds of dishes. I mean, I like ham, but you probably shouldn't eat a whole 10-pound ham by yourself over, you know, like a 10-day period. It's pretty salty. That might not be the best option. So it's better to, let's see, it's definitely better to sort of spread the ham out, not eat it all at once. So when I cook a big ham like that, I like to just put some in the freezer and have it for meals like this. If I have fresh peppers, I put them on here. I know some people are saying, you could get some canned mushrooms from the store. Absolutely. If that's what you like, you can. I don't happen to like canned mushrooms. Does Amazon sell canned mushrooms? I'm sure they do. So if that's your thing, you can do that. But I don't like them, so I don't do it. Do I eat olives? Sure, I could have bought some olives or some canned pineapple. That I do like. Yes, I do believe pineapple belongs on pizza. I do. So I could have done that, but I didn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and run my fingers across here. Make sure that my meat, it seems like it's pretty well distributed on there. It's the same thing as with the cheese. Just feel free to use your hands. Use your fingers, as long as they're clean. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my hands now because I got cheese, I got ham all over them. My oven is set to 425 degrees. Now, you gotta use caution. Whether you're sighted, visually impaired, you gotta use caution when you're using a hot oven, for sure. So 425 degrees, that's hot. That's hot. I'm not wearing oven mitts when I put it in here, but if you want to, if you're not comfortable around a hot oven, by all means, even wear oven mitts when you're putting the pizza in. That's up to you. Be safe. Safety first, okay? Okay. Alexa, set a timer for 22 minutes.
22 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so we're gonna give that 22 minutes in the oven. And then I'll show it to you so you can see what freeze-dried cheese looks like on a pizza. And so you too are learning today that just because you're visually impaired, or if you're having vision changes, maybe due to aging, you can still cook. Obviously, you gotta take more precautions. You gotta be safe. Do not burn yourself. If you're not comfortable, take a class at a state agency, in person, a commission for the blind, or state resources for the blind, or a Braille resource center. There are places like that. So look that up in your state. We want you to be safe first, but by all means, you can cook. just by being safe, by using little tools like the talking thermometer, by using your hands. I cook with my hands, I cook with my sense of taste, I cook with my sense of smell, I even cook with my ears, right? You can hear when water starts to boil. You can hear when meat starts to sizzle. You can hear that stuff. So, I'll check back with you. Again, we could hang out and stitch, but I don't want this video to be super long. And if you're not interested in yarn at all, you might get a little bored. So, I'll see you in about 20 minutes.
Pause. Pause.
Hello, we're back one more time for the conclusion of the video, the pizza. That's what you want to see, right? Now, if for some reason this is the first video, if you missed the video on the freeze-dried cheese, I just want to show you again. This is Nutri-Store. This is freeze-dried pepper jack cheese. I bought it on the Amazon. I get it delivered to my front door. As a non-driver, I just can't get into my car every time I need cheese, and I live miles from a bus stop. It's a challenge. If you missed the first video, here's what the freeze-dried cheese looks like. It's dry, it's crumbly. You add water, you plump it up in the fridge. And it is good to snack on. Dry and crunchy. It is. So, that's the product that we're talking about today, and something that a non-driver that I live in a really remote area, I like to have around. Okay, we're gonna get our pizza out of the oven. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my heat off. Now, I use oven mitts, big oven mitts. I have one that is flame retardant. I used to have 2 of these. I'm gonna have to find another one of these because I used to do a lot of barbecuing, and so I really like flame retardant oven mitts. And these are the long ones. They go almost to my elbow. The flame retardant one, not quite. I have another one. It's not flame retardant, but it's very thick. It's not as long. It goes just past my wrist. So I'm gonna use both of those because I don't like to burn myself even on the sides of the oven. As somebody who's visually impaired, if you want to be safe with your oven, I highly recommend you get the really long oven mitts, because when you're opening up that hot oven, you can accidentally touch the sides of your oven with your wrist. I've done that before. It hurts. It hurts. It's painful. So you don't want to do that. So I can hear my pizza. I don't know if you know that, but I can actually literally hear the cheese on my pizza. So if you want to know what does, I don't know if you can see that, what does freeze-dried cheese look like when it's all melted and cooked on a pizza? Here you go. This is what it looks like. We're gonna go ahead and set it down. I've got some hot pads on my countertop. We don't want to burn my countertop. Normally, I put it on my stove. That's a little far. I mean, I guess I could take the tripod over there, but we're already over here and we're almost done. So I just went ahead, put some hot pads down. You should do it either on your stove or definitely with hot pads. You don't want to burn your countertops. My mother burned my countertops, okay? I didn't do that, she did. So now, if you're not comfortable with this pan being super hot, just let it cool a few minutes. There's nothing at all wrong with that. A rotary blade pizza cutter would of course be simpler, safer, easier than a knife, but I don't have one. I used to have one when I lived in Portland, but I left a boyfriend, left a bunch of stuff behind. The pizza cutter was one. I just needed to leave that situation. I couldn't take everything with me from our household. So little things like that pizza cutter got left behind, and I've just never bought another one. That was like almost 20 years ago, 19 years ago. Never bought another one. I've just been using a knife since then. So I like to kind of run my knife around there. Make sure it's not sticking too bad. You can use your knife on the edge to kind of gauge where you want to cut with your knife. Now I still have an oven mitt on because I need to touch the pan, hold on to it, know where it's at, okay? And I don't want to burn that hand. I don't. So if you're gonna do this and you can't see, I highly recommend you keep at least one oven mitt on so you can know where your pan's at, you can make sure it's not slipping, and then you can still cut safely. So I go ahead and keep an oven mitt on, and then I hold on to the pan so I know where it's at, and I can hold it still. Okay, I've cut my pizza in half. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it into quarters. And then I'm gonna get a plate. And then I'm just gonna grab my slice of pizza. I'm using my knife. If you're not comfortable doing that, by all means, use a larger spatula, something that makes you feel a little more secure, a little more stable in the kitchen with what you're doing. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, my plate's cool, so I can take off my oven mitts. And this is what pizza with freeze-dried cheese looks like. And this is the crust. As you can tell, it's not super fluffy. You can see the bottom, it's not burned, but it's not a super thick crust. If you're looking for a super doughy crust, it's probably not the crust for you. But it gets it done quickly, no extra measuring. So that's the video for today. We're just talking about what kinds of things you can use freeze-dried cheese on and how I cook with a visual impairment. Thanks so much for tuning in. Pretty soon we'll be stitching. I'll be stitching as soon as I get done eating. I have a knitting project going. I started the crochet project. I definitely have stitching to do. So you'll see me back there real soon. Bye-bye for now.
Pause button.